America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
On night 2 of the Democratic convention here in Chicago, we saw two of the party's biggest stars in former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama come out and give their full-throated embrace of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz at the top of the Democratic ticket.
Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours. As president, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American.
These pair of speeches by the Obamas came after President Biden gave what might effectively be considered his farewell address to Democrats at night 1, whereas what the Obamas tried to offer was more of a forward-looking rationale to give Democrats looking for answers about where the party goes next or what are the stakes in this election.
As we embrace this renewed sense of hope, let us not forget the despair we have felt. Let us not forget what we are up against. We only have 2.5 months, y'all, to get this done. Only 11 weeks to make sure every single person we know is registered and has a voting plan.
One of the things that I thought was the most interesting about Michelle Obama's speech was her getting Democrats ready for what she's portrayed to be a pretty ugly election this fall between Kamala Harris, who would be the first black woman president of the United States, and Donald Trump.
I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Basically, her argument was that her and former President Obama lived through attacks on their race.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
This is the third time that Trump is running, and it's the third time that President Obama has tried to stop him from winning.
There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
It's pretty clear that he sees his own legacy intertwined with Harris's candidacy and sees her as a bulwark against Trump's agenda and what he might do to his own legacy and to President Biden's legacy.
The torch has been passed. Now it is up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in. And make no mistake, it will be a fight.
It was the second night in a row we heard directly from Kamala Harris. She beamed into the convention hall here in Chicago from a packed rally in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a really tight battleground state, where she was rallying with about 15,000 of her supporters.
Well, they just completed their roll call. And they have nominated Coach Walz and me to be the next Vice President and President of the United States of America.
It really just sort of embodied the enthusiasm that Democrats have at this moment. And it had just a little bit of an extra significance because Harris was speaking from the same arena in Milwaukee where Trump accepted his party's nomination just last month.
We are so honored to be your nominees. This is a people-powered campaign, and together we will chart a new way forward.
Earlier in the night, there were other speakers, including some congressional leaders within the party, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York and Independent Senator of Vermont Bernie Sanders. Both of them spoke about the Israel-Hamas war in the Middle East.
I am wearing this blue square to stand up to anti-Semitism, to stand up to all hate. Our children, our grandchildren, no matter their race, no matter their creed.
Senator Schumer, as a Jewish American, sought to really portray a message of this is a party that stands up to anti-Semitism and sort of lent his own voice to that effort, as well as Israel's right to defend itself. And then in a separate speech by Bernie Sanders, the progressive from Vermont, you heard him talk about the need for a ceasefire to stop the humanitarian suffering in Gaza.
Bring home the hostages and demand an immediate ceasefire.
I was in the convention hall, and both those speeches and the responses to both of those lines really personified the needle that the party is trying to thread as it unites around this issue and others. One thing that I thought we saw on display, and we may continue to see on display throughout the rest of the DNC, is just that it's really not so much about repackaging the Democratic Party's ideas and really the accomplishments or legislative achievements of President Biden. It's more about just getting the party to be excited about the person at the top of the ticket. So I think you'll continue to see that theme throughout the rest of the convention.
We will elect Kamala Harris as the next President of the United States, and Tim Walz as the next Vice President of the United States.